That's
Worst
amazing.
interview all day.
There's a great question first.
Oh, that's a great question. Well, first, I put myself in the shoes of being a fan.
I think in a former life, he was a Broadway dancer.
I think I have a few dance moves in me.
Yes, once and always.
Do not look 56 years old. That's so weird.
So that's it for my time. Thank you so much for sharing your stories.
By the way, I gotta ask you, was the Fanboy moniker before or after season 1?
Before.
Okay.
Before. Hi, Aldis and Isaiah. My name is Chris. I'm a host of a show called Once and Always a Fanboy in the Philippines. It's really great.
Oh, nice.
It's really great to speak to you. So for Aldis, season 2 feels like a big shift from the clear good versus evil setup of season 1. What made you want to push the show into a morally messier story this time around rather than doing another straight cat and mouse serial killer chase?
Yeah, well, I mean, it all comes from it's the brainchild of Ben Watkins, and he wanted to address topics of vigilantism and, kind of speak on the nature of how far do we push the limit of doing something that we feel justified by, even if it's for the right reason, but we're going about it the wrong way. How far is too far? Can you do something good through the wrong measures and still be okay with that? Who are you in that space? So this season is called Bitter Fruit, and we touch on themes of revenge, but really comes down to an open conversation about emotional ambiguity. How do you feel about certain things? Where do you feel you're complicit in the nature of something being good or being wrong? How do you feel about that? By the way, I gotta ask you, was the Fanboy moniker before or after season 1?
Before.
Okay.
Before.
Okay.
I'm a big geek, so yeah, that name is really apt for me. For Isaiah, Sampson goes on a deeply personal journey this season that hits him like a punch to the gut. How did that surprise force you to rethink who he is and where his emotional armor actually cracks?
There's a great question first. But I will say that I didn't have to rethink it. I just had to think it because it is now it's new area. It's fresh ground for the audience and for me because we're digging into who this character is. And it was, I'm gonna tell you, it was a lot of fun finding out what he was going to go through. Ben has an amazing way of letting us know kind of what these characters are going to do, and he waits until a couple of days before the table read, and then you find out, So then you have to deal with it like on the spot, and it gives it this breath of fresh air and this new perspective that you have to kind of like attack it with. But I was saying to Aldis earlier that the first season was kind of like the foundation, and now we're building the house. We're kind of like showing you what that world is or what can fit on that foundation.
Yeah.
Did working through these heavier scenes and storylines change how the two of you supported each other on set?
Oh, no.
Nah.
No. That's never going to change, man.
That is...
we always going to hold each other down. That's just what it is.
Yeah, that's
every single time. Yeah. I guess it only makes the support stronger, if anything. But
yeah, we buckle down. When we know it's going to get tough, we get tougher.
Exactly.
Very cool. So that's it for my time. Thank you so much for sharing your stories. And Isaiah, I'm a big fan of it. Really huge fan of it. So speaking to you today really means a lot. So thank you so much. And Aldis, thank you so much for your time as well.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Peace.
Hi, I'm Matthew, Jeanine. My name is Chris, and I'm a host of a show called Once and Always a Fanboy here in the Philippines. It's great to meet you both.
Yes, once and always.
Hi, Chris.
So this one is for Jeanine first. So playing a character whose actions are morally justified but extreme must be tricky. Between the mental and physical side of playing Rebecca, did your preparation take you down any oddly specific or unexpected research rabbit holes? Like, what was the craziest thing you had to Google for this role?
Oh, I love that. A lot about like tendons and bones and like how hard would it actually be? Like how much actual force would I have to exert in order to like break a knuckle, like pop a knuckle off? And a lot of it is like actually leverage. It's less like going through a bone. That's unreasonable. One can't simply do that, but one can definitely just like a hinge sort of pop a joint open.
Oh,
That's
worst
amazing.
interview all day. Oh, oh, oh.
So for Matthew, a lot of acting is also about what's not on the page. Was there anything about Lance that wasn't written in the script, but you made up for yourself in your head, like a backstory or a personal detail?
Yeah, a great question. You're always filling in those blanks with action and how you take those steps in that character, right? Like, there's all kinds of things that come up on the day. Like at some point, I'm like, oh, he's barefoot all the time. Which is a weird choice. Yeah, but I was like, I love this idea that he's always trying to connect to the land. I love you're always adding these idiosyncratic beats. At some point, I realized he doesn't like talking to people, like he doesn't look at people, right? This dismissiveness about him that's not on the page, but these are the beautiful little idiosyncratic choices that come up in the work that as you get older is the thing that's actually really exciting. It's not about the words. It's like, what are these cool little fun beats that you can find that will make that character feel full?
For both of you, coming into a show with a strong fan base and established tone, what was it like stepping into this world for the first time? And which cast member was the first to make you feel like you were family, like you belonged?
Yeah, I'll just take the first part of that question and Jeanine to get to the second. The interesting thing about season 2 of Cross is that the show was in the editing process when they greenlit the second series. So when we came in, when we were cast, the shows like hadn't even released a trailer. So we didn't even know what we were getting into. We just stepped in because the pages we were given and Ben was so inviting. That's the thing that we got in for.
And that's exactly what I was going to say is honestly, like the first sort of person to welcome us is Ben. And he really is like just such a family man. He's got 100 sons. And he's a big family himself. And that's sort of just the vibe of the set he's created with Aldis, of course. And I just remember my first like meeting with Ben, him asking such beautiful questions. He has a series of questions he asks everybody he works with. And part of it is certainly in service to the show and finding out like what sort of secret talents you might have that he could utilize. But a lot of it is just to get to know you.
Yeah, it's very interesting. He sat down with, he sort of invited me into this conversation in which he's like, I consider you an ambassador, that I want you to welcome people. I want you to open arms with everyone who's coming in to work with us because it will make them feel seen and appreciated. And that to me was really telling who he is. He's more about the creative experience and creating that fellowship. He's just as interested in that as he is the performances.
So that's it for my time. Thank you so much for sharing your stories. Matthew, belated happy birthday. I just found out that we have the same birthday, January 24th. So belated happy
You
birthday.
do not look 56 years old. That's so weird.
I'm 41.
We don't have the same birthday. Not even close.
As a 90s kid, this is such a pleasure speaking to you, Matthew. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much. It's very sweet. Happy birthday, and go Aquarius.
So hi, Alona and Johnny. My name is Chris. I'm a host of a show called Once and Always a Fanboy here in the Philippines. It's great to meet you, Johnny, and it's great to see you again, Alona.
Good to see you again.
Good to see you.
Yeah. So for Alona, in season 1, Kayla felt like someone orbiting the story, but this season she's fully inside it.
Yeah.
How did having more narrative weight change the way you played her, and did it give you more freedom or more, personal responsibility?
God, it's such a wonderful question because I was hoping for this, and I was told by Ben that this was going to happen in season 2 for me, and that they were going to give me a lot more runway to stretch and do things. And it is a sense of responsibility because I love Kayla so much and I love the story so much, and to be given that responsibility is not something I take lightly. And I gave it my all. And I think that the audiences are going to like it. And I think that we're going to continue having this fun runway to explore more of who she is.
Well, I loved seeing more of you, that's for sure.
Thank you. Thank you.
So for Johnny, your character has always brought the chaos and humor. But this season, we get to see what's underneath that tough exterior. What was it like peeling back that layer and exploring a side of him the audience wouldn't have expected?
It was just a natural progression. Underneath chaos and underneath psychosis, there's a lot of trauma in every respect, literally and metaphorically. So, like for me, it was a beautiful gift to be able to put that into the forefront of the narrative.
So there's a real pleasure in, I guess, playing a character who could go either way, and that goes for both Kayla and Bobby. What's the most fun part of leaving the audience unsure of where their moral lines actually are for both of you?
Oh man, I just anytime a character, a portrayal, or a storyline makes people think and not just forget about it and go to their phones or go to the next distraction, I think it's a job well done.
Yeah.
That's what we set out to do. You set out to be thought-provoking and have an impact and some sort of imprint on someone's existence. And I truly feel that the season and the arcs that more than one character goes through will give people that pause.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Totally concur. It's a beautiful gift, a beautiful mess, and like I said, I echo everything she just said.
Be honest. Whose character would you trust less in real life, Kayla or Bobby?
I trust Kayla a lot less.
I plead the fifth.
If you, Kayla, and Bobby, like your characters, had a cameo in a completely different genre, maybe a rom-com, fantasy adventure, or musical, which genre would they absolutely steal the show in and why?
Musical. Yeah.
Musical.
Musical.
In fact,
Bobby Trey's got an excellent playlist.
yeah.
I think in a former life he was a Broadway dancer.
I think I have a few dance moves in me, and I think I would like to exercise that part of Kayla's personality. I think she would shine. I think she's competitive enough to shine.
Yeah.
Very
Instead of
nice.
La La Land, we do La La Shreveport, and we got Bobby Trey will be outside.
For both of your characters, was there a small choice or adjustment you made this season that helped redefine your character for you, even if the audience didn't immediately notice it?
It's not so much in the character. I was in such a different mindset while filming season one that it brought, because we are the characters to a degree, right? We embody them, and so our physical state and emotional state often does bleed into a little bit, and we're not psychotic. You can't completely tune it out, I think. At least I wasn't able to entirely because of the condition that I was in. I was postpartum, and like that's heavy. And where I was in my personal life and the ability to focus entirely on this like sharp, like razor focus that Kayla has in season two was also, I was able to do that because of where I was at in my personal life and able to function and juggle both.
Yeah, and there's some of the things for Bobby Trey that has to deal with his experience in the military. Those things are new that the writers, brought to my attention. And so I think as I create character, there's always vulnerability and trauma that's there. But then the writers have the opportunity to make that more specific and say, well, this is exactly what he cares about. Oh, this is exactly a line for this character that I might not have known about. And so it forces you to refine and tinker with the internal mechanisms of the character you created.
So that's it for my time. Thank you so much for sharing your stories. Great to meet you, Johnny, and great to see you, Alona. Really was rooting for you this season, so I'm so glad I got to see more of you.
Thank you.
Cheers, my brother.
Hi, Ben. My name is Chris. I'm a host of a show called Once and Always a Fanboy in the Philippines. It's great to meet you today.
Good to meet you. Good to be talking with you, Chris.
You're used to being the person shaping the world from behind the scenes, but this season you literally step into it. What was it like auditioning for your own show and then suddenly having to inhabit the world you created?
Oh, it was crazy. It was crazy. It was crazy. It started off as a little bit of a lark, although my career started as an actor, so this was a little bit of a homecoming for me. But I don't think I anticipated this would be the time when I would dabble in that sandbox again. And auditioning, it was good because it was a reminder of things that were really in my rear view mirror, like the nervousness of auditioning and then what it takes to prepare for these scenes, and then also the work that it takes when you're actually doing the scenes And you have to understand, and this is one thing that I've always related to. As a writer, I write the scene, and then when the actor performs it, they're actually the ones that the people see. And there's a different type of pressure that comes with that. And even though I knew that, I didn't have to live that until I came back onto camera. And I'm thinking, listen, if this line doesn't land or if this performance doesn't land, it's all on me. And I'll be the one that people will be looking at. They won't be saying, oh, who wrote that? And so I was really, it was a blast, but it was also a little bit scary.
Season 2 has a different flavor from Season 1, with more layers, new locations, and moral gray areas. What part of that shift excited you most, and which part gave you headaches?
Whew. I think that the thing that excited me the most was the moral gray areas because I love putting the audience, as long as we keep the audience entertained, I love putting them in a position where they have to ask questions about themselves. And so with for example, you do a storyline that has a vigilante, and it's a vigilante that you can actually root for, or at least you think you can. But then as the season unfolds, you start to wonder if they've gone too far. And eventually you have to ask yourself if you've actually been rooting for a monster. And you have to ask yourself, what's the difference between law and justice? And if the law is not upholding justice, what would you do? So I love those moral ambiguities. I think the hardest thing was the layers. It's very ambitious storytelling, and that means a lot of what we call math in the writers' room, and making sure that everything connects the way it should, and everything lines up the way it should. You can simplify the storylines and make your job a lot easier, but I'm much more in the vein of let's roll the dice. Let's be more ambitious with the storytelling because if we're able to pull it off, it's much more satisfying.
A big shift this season is how deeply we dive into the backstories of characters surrounding Alex Cross, especially Sampson and Kayla. When you decide to give a character more history and emotional weight, what's your litmus test for knowing it will enrich the story rather than distract from it?
Oh, that's a great question. Well, first, I put myself in the shoes of being a fan. And I know for me, when I watch shows, even single lead shows where I really am just I love the lead and I love our hero, I still get much more satisfaction out of the shows that build out the world and the characters around them and don't just have them be functionary, but actually have them have their own lives. So in the writers' room, when we talk about these side characters and our supporting characters, we approach it as if they are the stars of the show. And we ask ourselves, when given a chance, how can we build them out in a way where we basically say, if there was a spinoff, would you want to watch it? And it was very clear to us that we were getting great chemistry between Cross and Kayla, and between Cross and Sampson. So we knew that the fans, we really felt like fans would love to see more of them. And we also felt like Bobby Trey, who was really a wild card in season one, we wanted to give people a little glimpse into what makes him tick as well. So those were the three that we chose. I think when you're doing the show right, you always have to be careful about how much real estate you give to other characters, because you don't want to change the entire device and mechanism of the show. But you do need to service the other characters because it makes the overall experience much more rewarding.
Very nice. So that's it for my time. Thank you for sharing your stories and congratulations on the show.
It's great talking with you, Chris. Take good care.